think one of the bad raps that I hear a lot in the industry is recruiters call and it's like a checklist. I mean, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And once you say no, then they say, okay, well, thanks, we'll keep you in mind, and they hang up. So I think by trying to build that relationship and that connection over the phone, and what do you want? What are you looking for in your next opportunity? And trying to really have them do a lot of the talking, can really help that relationship and that trust.
Welcome back to Talent Hunters, powered by MRI Network, where each week we talk with the world's top talent strategists and executive recruiters. If you want to build talented teams that drive your company to big goals and big growth, then this podcast is for you. And now, let's join the conversation with today's episode of Talent Hunters.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Vince Holt, the host of Talent Hunters, and today I am proud to have Scott Clark, the owner of DirectPath Recruiting Services in Madison, Alabama. Now, Scott's new to our family, but Scott is not new to recruiting. He's got roughly about 25 years of recruiting behind him, and this past May, he decided to join our family. Congratulations and welcome, Scott. Bye.
Thank you, Vince. Very glad to be here.
So let's start this thing out a little bit, Scott, by you giving us some of your background and really what got you to where you are today to be with this family.
Okay, we only got 45 minutes, right?
I love it. Go for it.
Yeah, like you said, I've been doing this for 25 years. Primarily has been in external agency recruiting. I've had just a couple of stints in corporate roles. So, and most of my time in external agency has been on the business development side. I started out with Aerotech back in 1998. I recruited for a year, and then I moved into an account manager role. And I was from Michigan, so being there in Michigan I moved there from Ohio when I was 5, and been there forever. And then was working with Aerotech for about 5-6 years, and decided to make the move down here to Alabama. As you probably know, Michigan's a big automotive hub, so did a lot of work in the automotive industry. And then when the foreign OEMs were starting to really populate here in the South, in particular in Alabama, that's when we made the move down here, and we've loved it. It's been a great move ever since. And so I came down here with Aerotech, and then decided after a few years to maybe go in that corporate role. There's a big defense industry presence here as well. The Redstone Arsenal is here in Huntsville, so a lot of opportunities for recruiters to be in defense companies, and decided to try that out for a little bit, and decided that wasn't really for me. I was missing the itch to get back into the staffing world and the sales world. So went back into the external agency side, and kind of bounced around a little bit from there, and then had an opportunity to go into corporate recruiting, not corporate recruiting, but a talent acquisition director at an environmental company here in locally in town, and seemed like a very exciting opportunity at the time, and it was great. And then when that finished up, I just wanted to kind of do my own thing. I wanted to see what I could do as an owner, and did a little bit of search and research, and MRI popped up, and it's been a great experience ever since.
All 3 months.
All 3 months so far. Yeah. So far, so good.
So, gosh, I just got a wealth of questions just based off of what you just said, because what excites me about speaking with you is you've been around the block. There's so many people that get into this business and they think, oh, you know what? This is tough. I want to go to work for a direct corporation and be their talent acquisition person. But you started out as a recruiter. Your versatility is just so expanded in going into all these different things. And then you come all the way back to running your own organization, which, got to tell you, great decision, because it all stops with you. And if you're driven, you're going to make a lot of money in this business. You really are. But I got a question for you. Why MRI?
Well, when I first was looking for my next opportunity after the talent acquisition director role, someone actually approached me on LinkedIn and said, "Are you interested in looking into more of an owner operator role?" And it was with a different outfit. And I said, yeah, actually, I was actually thinking about that myself, and started having conversations with them, and really liked what I had to hear from them. But there was just something missing. It didn't connect fully with me. I could have done it, and I think I would have been fine, but I wanted to see what else was out there. I've heard of MRI Network years ago. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was a franchise. I didn't know anything really about the nuts and bolts of it. So when I started looking into it and, started having conversations, every conversation it was just very smooth and very, very easy to have. It was like-minded people. We thought the same way. We said the same things. The way the whole structure was, I'm very familiar with. That's really how I've been structured in my past positions as far as payment and compensation, how things work. And it just clicked. And on top of that, 65 years of or maybe even more that MRI's been around is just made even more of a better fit for me overall. So
was there one thing that I get the overall feeling? I truly do. I get it. But was there one thing that really drug you across the line that this is what I need?
As far as comparing it to the
Not
other
even comparing,
franchisees, or just the role itself?
Just doing it with MRI. Was there one thing that stood out to you as this is what I need to be successful on my own?
Yeah, it was the contract side of things. To being able to do the contract and have the back office support, to have the payroll support. Unfortunately, I don't have the payroll to be able to pay my contractors on a weekly basis and wait 2-3 months or whatever when the client pays. So that was probably the main driving force for me, because I've always done, well, not always. I guess there was a time when direct placements really weren't that popular when I first started, but for the last 5-10 years or so, it's always been a good mixture of doing direct placement and doing contract. And if I did on my own, I could only do direct placement, at least for a period of time, until hopefully I could build it up to be able to then bring on the contract side. But to be able to walk in day one and be able to provide contract services as well as direct placements, that's what did it for me.
Wonderful. Glad to hear that, because the contract business, hey, it's a huge business in the manufacturing world, especially. And so having that back room to be able to take care of that really frees you up to do what you do best. And that is focus on growing your business. Good job. Great choice. So what does DirectPath RS specialize in specifically?
Specifically, it's the automotive industry, but I say that because I've always been automotive driven. Coming from Michigan and coming down here, that's what I've done. I've done third-party containment as part of Aerotech as well. So automotive has always been a major pull in my business. So I would say that is the major of what I specialize in. But at the same time, it's the manufacturing skill set overall, because a maintenance technician for automotive can do it for a manufacturing company that's doing for the defense industry or whoever else. So a lot of it's always been more for me. It's been that light technical skilled trades all the way up to engineering and anything kind of in between. But yeah, so automotive one, but any kind of manufacturing that has need, that's where I want to be.
Perfect. So manufacturing, specialize in automotive, but because there's such a crossover, whatever's needed out there, you'll jump on it.
Yep, exactly.
Somebody pulling on a line in automotive can do the same thing, to your point, in the mill aero.
Yep.
So
yes.
Good job. Good job. What do you, and because of your background of just being a recruiter and working with companies, just doing it on your own and so forth, what do you want to do that will differentiate your organization from your competition?
What do I want? Well, it's probably what I've always wanted to do, and what I hopefully have done over my time here in the career is I want to be a partner, a true partner to my clients. I want them to be able to come to me and and view me as that partner that can help them. Whether it's, hey, what's the salary out there for an engineer going on, or can you get me 5 people to start on Monday because we got this new business that's coming in. It's really going to affect us if we don't have that. So being able to provide those solutions and be that kind of expert for them. But on the flip side of that, or on the other side of the coin, is the candidate. I want to have that relationship with candidates that they can come to me after I place them. They can come to me in 2-3 years when it's time for another opportunity for them. I want that candidate to know that they can come to me and trust me that I can find them the best opportunity for them as well. Because that's one of the best things about the industry, is you can go to a candidate and you can change their lives. You have an opportunity for them. All they're knowing is they're on LinkedIn and they're going to work one day, and you call them with something that's going to make their life better. They're going to be able to go and take a better vacation or a longer vacation with their family, or be able to help support their college career with their children, or whatever the case may be. We're not selling them something that they're not going to want. It's not insurance. It's not something, I have to have it, but so I might as well go with you. It's like, no, we're selling them excitement, and selling them a great opportunity for them, because no one's going to take less money. No one's going to take less of an opportunity. It's always got to be something better for them. Or that time where someone's been laid off and they don't know what they're going to do, and they've got the bills that are piling up. We can be there to help them and get them back on track.
Boy, that's a great philosophy. It really is. I've found in all my years, working with employed people is half the battle of finding a solution. Because unemployed people, it's not always because of their control. A lot of times it's out of their control. But as the professional, you might lose control of somebody unemployed because of an outside recruiter or an outside entity or something distracting them to what you're focused on. But still, with your ability to focus in the manufacturing world, to specialize automotive first and so forth, you bring a knowledge that not a lot of the people out there can bring. So rest assured, you're in a good place. You really are. As you think about the conversations you've had with employers, what really sticks out to you that is your passion, okay, to live up to?
Well, I think I kind of touched on it before. Is really just to be that partner to them, to be that consultant, to be someone who's I'm not looked at as just another salesperson calling trying to sell me staffing. I've heard over and over the years is, hey, you're recruiting the same pool as everyone else. Why should I use you? And they just don't understand it. They don't get it. It's not the pool. We're all working on the same pool, but it's the people that we take out of the pool and place on that job site that makes all the difference. We're not just looking for the first 2 or 3 people that say yes. We're looking for the best 2 or 3 people after we've talked to 20 or 30 people. So being able to prove to them that we are more than just another service, that we can provide a better service than others. And there is a difference, because a lot of our clients, maybe not so much on the technical side, but on the light industrial and light technical side, they kind of view every agency as the same, and it's just not that way.
Boy, you are absolutely right. One of my favorite sayings has always been, look, I want you to tell me no if a candidate isn't right, because it helps me learn about you. And what you just said encapsulates that so eloquently. Great job. Great job. Let's take the same question with a candidate, because client is one way, but a candidate, even though they can work with a lot of different people, keeping control of a candidate focused on what you've got them going to, is there any kind of a saying or expectation from the candidate that proves you can trust them?
I don't really focus it so much on that, about whether they can or whether I can trust them. I really try to focus on how they can trust me. And I think I think one of the bad raps that I hear a lot in the industry is recruiters call and it's like a checklist. I mean, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And once you say no, then they say, okay, well, thanks, we'll keep you in mind, and they hang up. So I think by trying to build that relationship and that connection over the phone, and what do you want? What are you looking for in your next opportunity, and trying to really have them do a lot of the talking, it really helped that relationship and that trust. And that by doing that, I don't have to worry so much about getting a commitment, because we can do that all day long. And if someone's looking for a job and they need a job, they're not going to say, sorry, I got to turn it down because I told Scott that I would only work with him, So I really try to focus on that relationship and that connection that will help get that buy-in from the candidate.
Very well said. Very well said. Earning trust, it's a challenge. It really is. And you see, a lot of people play on, well, I want to build relationships. But what you so eloquently said was it's to earn their trust to build that relationship. Good job. Really good. You mentioned a few minutes ago about not wanting to be fishing out of the same pool, not your words, my words, but not just being one of those other headhunters that's calling everybody and promising the world and so forth. Where does today's technology factor into that?
Yeah, that's when you got the emergence of AI and a lot of these tools that are coming, it's there. I don't think it's there to a point yet where it's making that big a deal for me. I don't think so. I just I am under the firm belief that the more connections you make, the more calls you make, the more people you talk to, the better you're going to find that person. I don't see how technology is going to be able to do it. Now, technology will help you narrow it down for sure on certain skill sets, but you still got to pick up the phone. You still have to have the conversation, and you still got to have those connections with people. So they're helping in many ways. I know they help me rewrite emails and even job descriptions, and so they're helping the recruiter get, I guess, run more efficiently. But ultimately, it's still going to take that recruiter that can build that relationship and establish that trust and get the business to get the work done.
Boy, I got to tell you, what you're talking about is so close to my heart because, of course, I started in this business when the newest technology coming out was going to be the fax machine. And that was going to destroy our business because people could just fax their resumes. And then we got into the internet, and then we got into AI, and now we're into technology is moving so fast. But you said something that is very, very close to my heart. You got to get on the phone. You got to talk to people. You got to talk to employers. You got to talk to clients. You got to talk to candidates. That's how you're building that relationship. Do you have 25 years of doing this business in different factors of doing this business? Is there a story that really sticks out in your mind of making a placement with a client and a candidate that you really had to work for, but it really made you believe in what you do?
That's I'm sure there's a few, because to be in this industry, as you know, you've got to have some wins to stay in the industry. You can't just get beat up for 25 years and stay in it. But one I think that does come to mind is it was just a couple of years ago, Mazda Toyota came here into Huntsville and opened up 2 OEMs in one facility. And so they're doing a lot of hiring, a lot of technical hiring. That's what we helped them out with some technical hires. And there was one where it was just a matter of the candidate he was a perfect fit for them. They wanted him. It was a whole salary dispute. He was moving up here from a little bit farther down south, so the cost of living was a lot higher. So it was back and forth with that. And so there's a lot of calls, a lot of contacts I had with him. Then I was talking to my point of contact at Mazda Toyota, who was in HR. But I took it a step further, and I have really a friendship with the VP of they call it GM, which is really HR. So I kind of, which I don't normally ever want to do, is go around my point of contact. But to get the deal done, I really felt I had to, or we'd just miss out on him. So I went around him and had that conversation with him. He got involved. We were able to bring that guy on. I mean, this was one where it was probably dead in the water, you know. But just having those conversations, building a relationship with the candidate, getting with the client as well, and then just talking to and informing them. This is a very difficult position to fill. We are 95% there. If we can just get 5 more percent, we can get him in the door, and we're able to work it out. So that was one of those. And another thing too was with that is I wasn't even the lead recruiter on it. I was just doing the BD side. So my recruiter was working with them. So I kind of took over with those conversations. So personally for me, it was not only did we get the deal done, but my recruiter was able to see me kind of come through, you know, and then, you know, obviously make a good placement for them too. So, but that's probably one of the top ones that come to mind.
Boy, that's a great story. It really is. Don't be afraid to share that with employers too, because it green lights you. First, it shows your transparency, but it also green lights you to other people involved in the interview to have conversations with them too, because you're all about solutions.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job. Great story. What do you feel? What do you feel is the key? And I'm going back to this because it's so relative. What's the key to building a relationship with people that are never going to meet you through your eyes?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is just it's listening to them and really asking questions about them and what they're wanting, making sure that the conversation is really around them 90% of the time. Now, sure, we've got to talk to them about, no, this is what we're working on and this is a good fit. But if you can have them talking more about themselves than you talking about yourself and your deal and your position, then I think that will help build it. Another thing, too, is I don't know if this happens a lot or not, but every conversation, if we can, I try to have a Teams interview. I want to see that face to face. Because like you said, we're not going to be able to meet the person, physically. It's going to be virtually. And I think that goes a long way, too, with establishing that connection.
I never thought about that before, but you're absolutely right. I was always concerned about seeing somebody face to face because I would prejudge them. But what you bring up is a great attribute to see that person so that you're not blindsided if they meet the employer. That did happen to me one time. Vince, have you ever met this person? No. He has one tooth. And it was disconcerting at the time. But what it did is it cemented in my mind is, yeah, I had another one happen where a gentleman came in extremely overweight, super successful in sales, but he was extremely overweight. And this particular hiring authority was a fitness fanatic, and it killed the deal. And so you bring up a great point, being able to see the candidates and see the employer, because you can draw your own conclusions of what physically might attract somebody to somebody else. And that's good. I've never thought about that, and I never did it. So I hope the people that are watching this understand the value in it. That's really good.
I'll never forget. I came in after, not after, but I went and kind of called on a client. And they told me, yeah, they just had someone show up today to be an assembler, and they had a broken arm. So I was like, well, I can be able to assemble it in one hand. So that's that always kind of stuck in my mind too. Because that I do think of those kind of questions that I might get from the client, like that. Hey, have you ever met him? And I would hate. No, I haven't. Why? Because you know something bad's coming.
It's a good point. Good point.
But but I still think it's that connection, and it can help you feel better about your candidate too. If they're professionally dressed and they're making eye contact and they're doing those things, it can help you push a little bit more to the client saying, hey, this is someone I really think you need to talk to. They might be, their resume might not have everything that you're looking for, but I really think after meeting with them, I really think that this is someone that can fit in well in the organization. So you can't really do that if you don't know. You can't push something unless you're 100% for it, because that's that trust you're going to lose. The next time that client has an opening, you try to say, hey, this person's really good. They're going to say, yeah, you said that last time, Scott. So that helps me in that regard.
I hope the listeners are paying attention to this, because there's real value in what you just said. There really is. What do you feel you need to get better at?
We only got another 20 minutes, right? But there's a lot. I would say right now, what's keeping me a little bit, I do have some work. I have some business, and I'm making some headways here and there, but I'm not making enough BD calls that I need to make. And it's kind of a process too, because before my BD roles have been, hey, I've got 2 or 3 recruiters, so I need to go out and just 100% try and get as many clients as I can. It's a little bit different now running your own desk where, I don't need as many. But it's still getting back into that groove of making those calls, going in there, stopping in places. I'm a little bit slower to that than I have been in the past. I got to get back to that. So I really would like to move more in that direction. And the technology side. I know what I know. LinkedIn and Indeed are big. Have always been the big sites for me, but to see what else is out there, to be on the forefront of some of the technologies that's coming, I need to get better at that too.
Since joining, and I know you're just new here, do you have a mentor you're working with yet?
Yep. Danielle Blevins is, we talk weekly, and she's been very helpful.
Wonderful. Stay committed to that mentor, because a lot of people with experience like you've got, okay, when they've been successful, tend to listen to people with one ear and flush it out the other ear. And be transparent with what you just shared with me, with the mentor, and have her hold you accountable, because that'll get you on track to what you want to do. Just a suggestion from an old dog.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. You're 100% right.
So just starting out the business, the day's 24 hours long, probably putting in 12 to 16 hours a day because of your personal commitment. What do you do, Scott, to let go, to unwind? What do you do in your free time?
It's, I'd say spend time with family. My wife, I've got 3 boys, and 2 of them are out of the house and have their own homes now. And the one boy here has got another couple of years of college. So we're kind of empty nesters. And I say kind of, we're now more empty nesters, because we moved into a community a couple of years ago, and both of my older boys who are on their own kind of moved into an apartment or condo right by us. So we weren't really empty nesters. They were coming over all the time and eating all our food. And so it was still kind of loud and busy here, but with them moving out now and that, it is slowing down. And so my wife and I, we spend a lot of time together, and we'll golf, or we'll go to restaurants around here, take walks. We got our 4th son, we call him. We got a dog that's getting all the spoils now that all the other ones are gone. But really, that's it. Yeah, I would say we spend a lot of time with family, and and just like to spend time together.
So we've had a chance to get to know each other and dig into your business a little bit. I'm an old dog. Do you have a question you might want to ask me?
Well, yeah, you know what? I guess I didn't take some time to take a look at your background, but what is your background? What as far as I know, it's been recruiting. What areas and what industries have you been working on?
Well, my life in a capsule is I've spent the first 15 years of adult life in the retail home center business. Decided that the customer wasn't always right, and decided I contacted a recruiter to help him or have him find me a job. And he didn't do anything in retail, so he asked me if I'd ever thought about recruiting. Didn't really want to get into the military. So that was my understanding of recruiting.
Recruiting, yeah.
And so went in, interviewed. He ended up hiring me. I worked as a recruiter for 15 years. And then he wanted to retire and sold me the business. And the rest was history. My focus was the electronic interconnect world. Our office focused on footwear and the connector industry. And we also had somebody doing hospitality for quite a few years. But this business is a gift, and people just don't understand. I didn't want to own my own business, but when he retired, I knew that if he sold the business to somebody else, I was going to get fired. And I was going to get fired because I had 15 years of success in this business, knew how to do this business, and somebody new coming in to try and manage me. I'm pretty pig-headed and stubborn. And the owner of my office trained me how to be successful and then let me go and just kept me in the guidelines. And a new person would want to know what I was doing to be successful and would be micromanaging me to learn. And I wanted to be just left alone. And so I ended up buying the business. And the people that I hired, I trained exactly like I was hired. MRI has a phenomenal training program. Be disciplined to it. Everything you learned in the past is wonderful. Adapt it to the MRI way is the best advice I could give you. Don't fight it, because I'm telling you, I was dumb as a box of rocks on recruiting. They trained me how to be a recruiter. And the success that I've had isn't because of me. It's because of the people that help me stay within the guidelines. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. That was going to be my next question, was any kind of advice that you had me being, relatively new, and you answered that. So
yeah, commit to your mentor, commit to the training. It doesn't mean you weren't successful or anything like that. But if you're fighting here, okay, gosh, should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? You joined MRI for a reason. The beauty of MRI is you don't work for them, okay? But they are an incredible another tool to be successful, because their success, their history, the ownership group that owns us believes in it. You believe in it. And these people are phenomenal. The system works. And I say this with all my heart. If you ever have any questions, you've got my phone number. Call me.
I will. I appreciate that. You bring up another point. That's what I like about MRI too, is I feel like I'm part of a team. I'm not just on because that's part of what I loved about recruiting too. It's I played sports my whole life, and that camaraderie to have when you are everyone pushing in the right direction, and you see that success. It's so much better to have it with other people around that you can share it with, and I've got that feel that I have here at MRI. So that's another plus that of why I've liked that I joined here.
Right on. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time, Scott. I loved this conversation. I really did. I love talking to somebody that's done a lot of everything and not just focused on the one thing. because it exposes what the capabilities of our system is. And welcome aboard. Really appreciate you taking the time today.
I really appreciate you guys taking the time and giving me the opportunity for this. It's like I said, it's been great so far.